All right, good evening. Welcome to the April 9, 2019 meeting of the Manchester Town Council. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody. A couple items of business here. First is the approval of the March 12th, 2019 minutes. Sure. Prepared and sent out. Do you have any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
I'll make a motion we approve the March 12th minutes as submitted.
I'll second that.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. The receipt of the February 2019 Treasurer's Report. Have any questions, comments, corrections on the Treasurer's Report from February 2019?
I'll make a motion to receive the February 2019 Treasurer's Report.
I'll second that motion.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then one more, the March 2019 check register. Treasurer's Report to follow. A motion to receive the check register.
I'll make a motion that we receive the March 2019 check register.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Mayor's report, I got a couple things to get through here. First, I wanted to ask Ms. Holland Fowler if she would come up. Mrs. Fowler has agreed to join our Manchester Parks Foundation board member. So, pretty simple. State your name and say aye. I state your name.
Aye, Holly Fowler.
Do affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and will support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that you will, to the best of your skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Manchester Parks Foundation Board Member according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
I will.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you don't mind hanging out with me 1 second. And if you bring this over to Ms. Baldwin.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Couple announcements. We're still having somewhat of an issue with plastic bags winding up in the recycling. Again, so everybody can do their best. I know there's been some talk on Facebook and those things where it gets windy. Of course, trash day is always the windiest day of the week, so things go in that. But do your best to secure them, whether or not you use an extra container. But the trash bags, Hughes is, well, now they're just going to leave it there. They're not going to take it because it gets into the recycling. It clogs up the sorters. It's not good. So they will take paper bags, though, right? So,
Yes.
So if you started to use paper bags instead of plastic bags, you could go that way. Yard waste pickup began April 5th, so that was last Friday. Will continue through November. As a reminder, yard waste consists of grass clippings, leaves, small branches, not in excess of 3 feet or 4 inches in diameter. Branches must be bundled in armfill loads. Yard waste should not be mixed with things like mulch, dirt, residential trash, including pet waste, rocks, those sort of things. Please place these in on the curbside Thursday evening, because they really do get out pretty early on Friday to get those. So if you run down there 8 o'clock on Friday, you probably have missed it. All yard waste should be placed in large craft bags or in a container to be dumped. No plastic bags for that either. Brush pickup, April 16th. I remember your pile. This is, some larger items. This is the twice brush pickup that we're going to do. So if you have some bigger branches and things that went down, came down with the wind, you get those out for April 16th. Bulk trash, April 17th. So again, coming up, call Hughes. You get the number, either you can find it, but we have it here if you can't find it. Call them. They may have special instructions. They also are going to want to put you on the list to make sure that they get your larger items. The office will be closed here Easter Monday, April 19th. Water bills are due this month, which is April 30th. Scholarship season is coming back around, due May 1st, so that'll be before our next meeting. So that's going out. We have a scholarship committee. As a reminder, we give out some scholarships, sometimes one, but we try to reward as many deserving students as we can. So those are due May 1st here in the town. And then we have a town election here. The voting will be held here, I believe, right?
Correct.
Tuesday, May 21st. The mayor and 2 council members will be elected for a term of 4 years. And that's what I have. I'll turn it over to town administrator.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the community. We'll go ahead and review the March 2019 Administrative Report under pending items. As you know, the Sheets project has started. The tanks have been removed, earthwork has begun, and work has begun on the gravity and the force main relocation. The first week was kind of rocky there, but once we got over the first week and a half, I think things are going a lot smoother. So things are looking pretty good down there. The packaged goods store, the Planning and Zoning Board did have some concerns, and they're currently being addressed. The former MPD building and Tree of Friends Foundation, our town attorney is working on a draft lease. You should be receiving something over the next several weeks on that. Update to the town charter and code. Staff continues work on that. We have supplied you with just a draft copy of suggested revisions to Chapter 139, peddling and soliciting, and also Chapter 233, unlicensed vehicles, and they are given to you for your review. If you have any questions, please get back to me on that. And if you find no problems, possibly at the next meeting in May, we'll introduce them to you so they can be introduced. The water sewer billing and reading procedures, staff had our initial meeting on March the 26th, and staff is confident that we'll have some information back to you by the May meeting for an administrative policy change. You've been given the monthly code enforcement update. Under miscellaneous items, the third annual Business Expo and the Easter egg scramble that was held here Saturday, two good events. They both had they were both very big successes, and we're pretty pleased with how both of those events turned out. The town was notified on March 20th that we were awarded a $4,000 grant from the Maryland Environmental Trust Clean Up and Green Up program. Monies will be used to purchase 65-gallon recycling toters. The toters will be distributed in areas of the town in which town staff can monitor the actual usage and the amount of materials being recycled. So staff is still in the process of working out the details how we're going to do that, so we can we'll work with the homeowners and make sure they understand some of the things that we would want them to do as far as monitoring those. So the Sustainable Communities Renewal application, as of this date, our application is still under review. We're also working and being assisted by the staff of the Sustainable Maryland program, working on a reapplication. I've been holding off and having a meeting of the Sustainable Communities group till we get some information back so I can go over that with the entire work group. So that's all my report. Any questions for me?
Just as a follow-up to the two groups you referenced, this is Manchester Happenings and the Manchester Skate Project. So I was able to come up. I know a number of people here. We had hundreds of people here at Christmas Tree Park on Saturday. It was trying to be a great day. A couple of new events that are going on. But if you're able, if you do Facebook and those sort of things, they're pretty active on there. And both those groups, I think, would love to have more people from the community and from the extended community follow them so they can kind of keep up on what some of the new things will be happening here in the coming months.
Yep, very good event. Both events, the expo and the Easter egg scramble.
That was a good turnout.
Also the skate park project. Very good day.
Right.
Yep.
Steve, would you be able to give us a little bit of an update on Rohrballs and where we stand in
Yes,
regards to
in
that?
fact-
It's almost 2 years now since we started.
Yes, in fact, we had a meeting with our attorney today, and Mr. Rohrball has acquired an attorney. So our attorney basically said that he's been in contact, both attorneys have been in contact with each other. It's just a matter of setting up a meeting between the two. The new attorney that Mr. Rohrball has to have time to review the case.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
All right, Rodney, Director of Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. To start, I'd like to bring your attention to the water and wastewater data report. For the month of March, we pumped treated water 8.4 million gallons for the month of March, with an average of 270,000 gallons a day. On to wastewater, we treated 12.5 million gallons of wastewater with an average of 403,000 gallons per day. So now we're doing spray irrigation. That started March 1st. So at our spray irrigation field, we sprayed 15 million gallons for 20 days for March, for a total of 20 days, with an average of 749,000 gallons per day. Does that make sense? We spray irrigate just to refresh your memory, we spray irrigate our wastewater effluent from March 1st to November 29th. Average temperature, 33 degrees. Precipitation, 3.69 inches. Average wind speed, 3 miles per hour. Moving on to the DP, any questions on that? Moving on to the DPW report. We had 2 water leaks on the public side, and that was located by Manchester staff. We found a broken service line at 3273 Shermill Drive and a broken service line at 3007 Botman Road. We had 3 water leaks on the private side that was located by Manchester staff, and that they've been repaired by homeowners, residents. One was on Susan Ann Drive, one was on Corona Court, one was on Grafton Street. For our biannual hydrant flushing, we've been planning that, and that's coming up for 2 days coming up, April 23rd, April 24th, and that'll happen from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. For the Park Avenue tank rehab project, that's going to be a rehab and paint inside and out. I've been preparing bid specifications for that, and I plan to advertise that mid to late April. For wastewater, we had 1 sewer backup on the private side, and that was located by our staff, and that was cleared by the resident, and that was on Overlook Court. We had 2 sewer backups on the public side, that was cleared by our staff. One was on York Street, one was at 3147 Main Street. On to number 3, the wastewater treatment plant, the ENR upgrade, also known as enhanced nutrient removal upgrade. We put a request for qualifications to bring in qualified engineers on board. Advertised that on the 12th of March, and that closes April 26th. For the Sheets project, we've been working very closely with the Sheets folks to coordinate the new sewer line relocation, and the tie-in is, I have down here the 16th of April, but that's been moved to the 23rd. So we'll be tied in to the new sewer line, force main and gravity on the 23rd, tentatively. On to maintenance, roads, stormwater management, and parks. Our street cleaning program began early March, and that will continue, weather permitting, mid to late October. Our facility staff fabricated 10 new picnic tables, and also rehabbed some old picnic tables, and that they go to various park locations, and that's it for this fiscal year on that. Brush pickup, we did a special brush pickup on 26th of March, and the next one is scheduled for the 16th of April. As the mayor mentioned, bulk trash pickup is the 17th of April. Park cleanup and mulching is in progress for our various parks. Crossroads Park has been completed. Currently, we're working through the remaining parks. And also, I wanted to mention Christmas Tree Park bathroom facilities have been open. That they opened up the last week in March. So, any questions on any of that?
I think we're good.
Okay, just want to mention this is my 6-month anniversary, and I want to thank everybody for putting up with me.
Thank you.
Oh, and you kept your promise that the last snow we had would be our last snow, so thank you for that.
All right, thanks, Rodney. Police report, chief?
Sir. Police responded to 78 calls for service during the month of March. 13 calls were to assist Hampstead and the sheriff deputies. We criminally charged 5 persons. and we did investigate 3 Part 1 crimes. One of the Part 1 crimes involved a burglary at Miller's Plumbing. They stole some pretty big coils of copper. We did clear that by arrest, and then we found out our suspect was subsequently wanted by Baltimore County for the same type of crimes. I think he had a history in Howard County as well. We did have 2 larcenies during that same time period from autos. We believe there is a connection, but we just haven't established enough probable cause yet to step a bit further on that case. Following up the burglary that involved Manchester Medicine and Piper's and the Marathon gas station down in Hampstead, that subject was criminally charged. He was indicted after, as I talked about earlier, additional evidence was gained, and they succeeded with a grand jury indictment, so he's pending trial. The arrests include the 1 burglary, 2 warrant arrests, 1 for traffic, 1 for marijuana possession, which was a criminal summons. The overdoses, as reported by the sheriff's office, and again, it doesn't account for the hospital. It's 39 overdoses for January, 18 are heroin fentanyl related. There were 3 fatalities, and the municipalities year-to-date account for the following. Hampstead has 4, Manchester has 1, Sykesville has 1, Tawnytown has 8, Westminster has 29, and Mount Airy have 5. Traffic enforcement, we did step it up a lot, as I did discuss. We pretty much hit all the hot spots in town. 20 state citations were issued, 128 warnings for speed, stop sign, and other violations, and 13 repair orders. And the best news is, according to SafeWise, we were number 1 in the state as the safest town, and 66 in the nation, which I gotta tell you, the 66 in the nation.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
It is.
Sure is.
That was pretty cool.
John, any of these suspects local that have been arrested?
No, he wasn't local, no. And the gentleman that did the burglaries had a connection to Hanover and a connection to Westminster. The subject that did Phil Miller's moved into town. He was here briefly, he was staying in a rental, he did the crime, and then I think he's gonna be in Baltimore County for a bit too.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, kudos and congrats to you and the police department, and really to everybody in
It's
the
everybody.
community, right?
Yeah,
It's
community is big.
it's everybody pulling together. And if you read through, which I did, which we talked about it, the top 50 and the top 66, the towns that were also doing very well, a lot of those are retirement communities. You see a lot of Florida, Arizona, you see like 40, 50, 60% of the residents over 65 years old. And for us, you know, we certainly have some of that, but we're still a young community at the intersection of 2 state highways, and a lot of the crime that we are seeing, to your point, is folks zipping in, trying to hit something and zip out, so.
Very seldom do we have a suspect that actually resides here.
Yeah, so we're doing pretty well, but we just gotta keep after it too.
And real quick, just to touch on, we had a Halley Hill, had 3 signs and actually 2 poles for the street signs were taken. We're looking for 3 juvenile suspects. We do have them on video. We gotta clear up the video. One's a pretty big guy, so I think he may be easy to identify, so we are working on that.
It's not me.
No, young teenager. Looks like a football player though, so. We're working on that, but they did take, signs are one, they took the signs, which normally the teenagers would do, but this time they took the poles. So,
Any other questions for the chief? All right, moving on, we have introduction of 3 ordinances tonight. This is what we do every April. Every April, we introduce our budget. The budget is then, according to our process, voted on in May. So there can be changes to the budget, certainly to line items and things, but not with the tax rates. So we set our rates in April, and then we have a public hearing, we advertise those. Did I say something wrong? Oh, okay. I do that from time to time. So why don't we'll introduce these separately. Ordinance 237 maintains the current tax rate of 21.6 per $100 of assessed value. That again is a credit to the town, to the staff, and to everybody that works here, and to this group for working on the budget, to hold that tax rate steady, again, in the face of growing cost, quite frankly. So every year, labor cost goes up, and health insurance goes up, and energy goes up. So we find ways to try to make this work as best we can. So we're able to do that again this year, so I think that's a good thing. Ordinance 238 is the water unit fee. The water unit fee changes from $22 to $27 per unit, but we are not changing the usage rate. That's correct, right?
Right.
And ordinance 239 increases the sewer unit fee from $29 to $36 per unit. But again, we're holding the usage rate the same. Provide a little bit of clarity on 238 and 239. Prior to the 2018 budget, we had a study performed to figure out what our actual costs were associated with our water and sewer program. So what we knew was, we knew that the water and sewer fees were underfunding those enterprise funds, meaning we were robbing from the general fund in order to bring those up to where they need to be. Because ultimately, we have to get water out of the ground, get it to houses, we have to treat the water according to a permit and put it back. We have to pay the folks, we have to provide health insurance for those individuals. So we had a study done to figure out really where we were. So if, let's say we were charging $3.65 at the time. Well, it was really costing us $5.10, and don't quote me on these figures, those are rough figures, but we have the study out there if anybody would like to see it. So then we asked for some assistance, right? Let's look at a process so it's not a one-year change. What do we want to do? What's a 5-year step in to getting us to the point where the water and the sewer fund are self-sufficient, and then to be reviewed on a yearly basis so we're not taking things out of the general fund. So this is year 3 of that plan. And this group then decided, let's get halfway in, let's get 3 years into that plan, and then let's redo the process to see, again, where are we? What are we pulling in? Has this affected uses? Has this affected how people use and pay for their water? Again, what does it really cost us to get that water and then treat that water and then determine if any future tweaks are needed at that point? So that's where we are. These will be advertised, again, introduced tonight and then voted on in May. Anybody else have anything to say on 237, 238, 239?
No.
All right, questions, comments from the community? Mr. Tomlinson, do you mind coming up to the microphone?
How's everyone doing? I had a question for the chief of police. During the March meeting, there was something mentioned about there was a $20,000 theft at the volunteer fire department. I didn't know if there was any update on that situation. Obviously, I know if it's a continuing investigation, there can't be any comments, but is that the case?
Pretty much, Chris. It's an open investigation. State attorneys are looking at it. State police are looking at it. And are still following the money. It can take a bit because you're dealing with other banks. You got to get subpoenas. You got to identify the accounts. You got to make sure you got all the account numbers. There's a lot of things that could prolong it. So it's still open.
Gotcha.
But if you
Was
heard
it-
anything, I'm open.
No, there was no mention of it anywhere other than, like I said, the March meeting.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It
Thanks.
could be a bit.
So I think the answer is it's not closed, it's not.
No, it's definitely not closed.
Yeah, it's,
Definitely not going to get pushed to the side.
but it's also not in our hands at this point.
Yeah,
Working with the state police, you said?
yeah, yeah.
All right, that was the only person that had signed in. Was there anybody else that would like to speak on anything not signed in or general questions? No? No mama report? Or leave it? All right, here now we'll move into committee reports. Councilwoman Smith.
Okay, we didn't have a meeting. We won't have one until June, so we'll update on that next time. But just wanted to comment again on the Business Expo. Huge success. Everybody I talked to said it was great. It was even better than the year before. I think when we counted, I think I left mid-afternoon, and I forget. Do you know how many people we ended up
I
having?
stopped counting when we hit 500.
Okay, so.
And it was right about 15, 20 minutes before it ended.
Okay, so that was good. Okay. Yeah, so huge success.
In regards to our banner city, I need to touch base with you and line up to get one more signature, and it's ready to be submitted, so it'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we should be good to go on that.
Mhm.
Councilman Bocelli.
The next Mama meeting is scheduled for April 18th at Spargo's at noon. Something new for this year, April 13th at the Manchester Marketplace. It'll be at the Gary Business Center from 9 to 8 p.m. It's kind of a flea market thing. Did you want to say anything else about that?
No, just come on out and be surprised. There's always different vendors there every weekend, and come on out and there's something for everyone.
Do you know where Sheets is?
Was.
Was. That next little shopping center, that's the Gary
Manchester
Business
Pharmacy.
Center, so it would be in there.
Vince, you said Mama is the 18th.
18th of April at noon, Spargo's.
Spargo's.
Yeah, that's where the Gary Business Center. That would be it.
Councilwoman Howe.
We had a tree planting ceremony last Saturday at the Nature Center. One of the trees was in memory of Marcia Bogash, who spent a lot of time at the Nature Center and passed away a year ago. And the other two were for members that had put in many, many years of being there, and their families were there. And it was very nice, and there's plaques on the trees now commemorating that. This Saturday is, the April 13th is Members Day. So if you are a member at the Nature Center, come on out. There's food and it's a bouncy house, I believe, and some activities for the kids. If you want to become a member, come on out and pay your money. The other activity planned is for May 19th, which is the plant swap from 1 to 3 p.m., which is always very successful. I think last year we had 100 people attend, and we swapped over 1,000 plants. The Members Day also starts at 11 if you're interested, and it's at, both of these events are at Charlotte's West Nature Center. And that's it.
Debbie, did you say 1 to 3? Sorry.
For the plant swap?
The plant swap 1 to 3. And there'll be a master gardener there to answer questions if you need some advice. It's always a good turnout.
Councilman Wilder.
Okay, as anticipated, representatives from Bob Ward Homes came to last month's meeting to address some of the concerns the commission had with their layout and their plans. And again, this is a very informal process at this point. They're not coming with any formal presentation for plans. They're just seeking our opinion. So they've been very good at addressing those, and I think they may come back next week to address some of the other opinions we had or concerns. So working well with that. We also had architects, as Steve had mentioned, architects from the number 1 North Liquors came to address the concerns we had with some unauthorized construction changes. We had probably 39 or so line items of concerns, and they've addressed all of them to our satisfaction. So construction again has proceeded, so they're all on their way. So again, we are planning on meeting next week, maybe again with the Bob Ward Homes folks, but that's to be determined.
And give us the location for Bob Ward. We know where it is.
It's on the old Burwager property. So if you go out Westminster Street, right there as Westminster Street and Park Avenue join to the Y, there's a big area up there. Don't remember how many acres that is total.
Stockyard area, right?
Yeah, it's the old stockyard. They're planning on roughly 32, 33 homes in that area.
I think it's about 12, 15 acres.
Yeah,
something
that's
like
like
that,
right.
yes.
So it's about 32, 33 homes, depending on the layout, depending on how the access in and out, whether it's only access from Park Avenue, Westminster Street, or whether the access comes from High Street. A lot of those things are to be determined. That's it.
Very good. All right, Youth Representative Trent.
Starting off with athletics, we have a lot of spring sports that are in full effect now with baseball, lacrosse, softball, outdoor track, coin toss, and tennis, just to name a few. And recently, on Thursday night, the varsity boys baseball team won over Liberty 8-4, and the varsity girls softball team won over South Carroll at 10-2, so at least we're doing good there. As for fine arts, the senior-directed one-acts performed in the last couple weekends, and personally, I think they went fairly well, and everyone was pretty happy with their performance. Everyone had a great time. And many of the fine arts students, specifically the drama students, are going to the drama festival this Friday to perform against other schools, showcasing their musical Pippin. Other miscellaneous things. This is Paint the Town Purple Week to raise awareness about Relay for Life, with the actual event being in a month. And last Saturday morning or late Friday night, there was a pipe burst at the school, causing the senior-directed 1X on Saturday night to be postponed to this Saturday. So if you missed them and still want to see Don't Fear the Reaper and the Yellow Boat, Saturday night at 7. Also, when Mayor Warner was discussing the soon town council elections, I was reminded that the freshman, sophomore, and junior classes are beginning the election process for the next years. And finally, the fourth and last quarter begins tomorrow, so we only have about 45-ish more days to go.
Who's counting?
Yeah,
Coming down the home stretch.
yep. And that's all I have.
Very good.
Very good. Anything else for this group before we adjourn? All right, a couple of reminders. Planning to meet at this point on April 24th at 7 p.m. for a final budget work session to work out final line items. Next town council meeting is May 14th here, 7:30, and the town election is May 21st. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second it.
All right, good night, everyone.